They may change course. It can drive the people around them crazy. It's a person making a decision. We're all going this way. Now we're turning the boat this way. Now we're turning the boat that way. Not always a good idea. Frequent contributor to group conversations. In fact, you cannot shut them up sometimes in the group. They don't give you 2 cents worth. They give you like $9.86 worth. They just go on and on and on. They use gestures and voice intonation to emphasize points. Very emphatic. This is so. I'm absolutely certain. You're wrong. I'm right. So they come out very strong in their opinion. Let's see. Questions tend to be rhetorical, to emphasize points, or to challenge information. You are learning an incredible amount, aren't you? So they'll ask questions like that. Doesn't give you much room to say no, because if I say no, then Brad's going to be upset. So most likely you're just going to say, oh yeah, we're learning a lot. We're taking lots of notes. They express their opinion readily. They are less patient, more competitive, more confronting, more likely to maintain their position. In other words, more likely to argue when they're not in agreement. They can be intense, assertive, eye contact is sustained. They just look right at you and they're bored at the back of your head. Get out of there. Right. More likely to introduce themselves to others. They have a firm handshake and they tend to bend or break the established rules and policies. Hard hat? You don't need a hard hat. No one's going to get hurt. Come on, let's go. You know, rules, what are those? Rules are made to be broken, and off they go, usually into trouble. All right, how about the person over here? How do they behave?
They don't like conflict.
They don't like conflict. Excellent point. They avoid conflict. In fact, this person in the top left really avoids conflict. We'll talk about them in a minute. But both people on this side. How else does the indirect, cautious, deliberate person behave?
Calculating.
Say it again?
Calculating.
Very calculating, methodical, meticulous.
Not a team player.
Probably not a team player, though this person is a little bit more because they're the people orientation. But this person, of course, by themselves, doesn't want to be bothered. All right, let me tell you about the indirect person. Approaches risk, decision, and change slowly and cautiously. Infrequent contributor to group conversations. You have to kind of like pull it out of them. You actually got to, Mike, I know you have something to say, Mike, come on. Come on, Mike. Come on, Mike. And you almost have to like really get on it, and then they get embarrassed because they don't want to be put on the spot like that. Let's see. They make qualified statements. Well, according to my sources, or last night on the news, so they reference other people and sources outside of themselves. Let's see. Questions tend to be for clarification, support, and information. Here's me, clearly on this side, right? This is me over here. This is my wife. Before I learned this information, I said to her one night, I said, Marie, would you like to go out for dinner tonight? And she said, well, can we afford it? And I went nuts. Marie, I didn't ask you if we could afford dinner. I just asked you if you wanted to go out. If you don't want to go out, we don't even have to talk about whether we can afford it or not. So when I ask you a yes, no question, I want a yes, no answer. No, when you're like that, I don't want to go out for dinner. And I'm on the couch. Okay? Been there, done that? Anybody? You guys know what I'm talking about? Okay. So I read Tony Alexander's book. She's asking questions for clarification, support, and information. So I'll give her the information, then I'll get the answer. Marie, would you like to go out for dinner tonight? Can we afford it? Yes, dear. I just went to the bank. I got a $100 bill. We can afford dinner. So would you like to go out for dinner? Can we get a babysitter? Well, it's 20 to 1. We're going out for dinner around 7. Yes, I can get us a babysitter. Yes, we can afford dinner. So would you like to go out for dinner tonight? Where would you like to go? What? She hasn't even said yes, and she wants to know where I want to go. This is making sense to anybody. Can you see yourself or others? Okay, yeah, this has happened like numerous times in my life. And not just with her. All right, so back to the indirect person. They reserve the expression of their opinion. They're more patient and cooperative, diplomatic. When not in agreement, if it's not a big deal, they will go along. So they don't argue as much as the direct person. They are understated and more reserved. Eye contact is intermittent. At social gatherings, more likely to wait for others to introduce themselves. They have a gentle handshake, and they tend to follow the established rules and policies. All right, so at at work, when you're in work mode, how many of you see yourself more to the right side? Raise your hand. Did you see how fast those hands went up? Boom! And how many think you're more to the left side? And who's still thinking about it? If you're still thinking about it, you're on the left side by default, because you're deliberate and cautious and you're not quite sure yet. You're still analyzing. All right. Pretty clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay? Pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You probably already are doing this. Okay. Let's see how much time. Whoa. Okay, we got 2 minutes per box. All right. Now you got to start writing. Bottom right. Let me do this in blue so you can see it. It's called the director. By the way, how many are familiar with the DISC personality assessment? Yeah, it's the same 4 quadrants. Tony just has different names for them, and his system, I find, is very accurate, and it's easy to use, and that's why I like it. DISC, you actually have to fill out a quiz. This is just kind of watch people figure it out. Directors, CEOs, owners of the company, military, command and control, vice presidents, sort of the leaders, sort of out front, people taking risks and directing others. You do this, you go. By the way, in an emergency, I want a director. I don't want somebody, guys, there's a fire in the building, and whatever, what exit should we take? No! I want somebody who says, all right, everybody, duck down on the floor. Put your hand, get a wet cloth, put it over your head, crawl this way, follow me, we're going to the exit. Because I want to get out of that building, I don't want to die. Hello? So you got your director in the bottom right. Direct, assertive, fast-paced, guarded, self-contained, task-oriented. Top right, we call this person the socializer. So Esty, by the way, is this different than a few weeks ago?
Yes. No?
Yeah?
What do you think? Yes.
It's
very
different? Oh, very different. Okay, good. Phew. I'm not just, I am sweating, but for a bunch of reasons. Okay, I get them all worked out. I'm passionate about this, as you can probably tell. I love training, telling jokes, stories. It's so much fun. All right, the interacting socializer. Like a director, they're direct, assertive, and fast-paced, but they are totally focused on the people and the relationships and not on the task. So in this box, we get entertainers, motivational speakers, sales. A lot of salespeople are up there. Gift of gab. But do they ever nail it down? No. A socializer says, oh, okay, it sounds like you're really happy with us and you want to buy a bunch of stuff from us. Details? Don't worry, we'll worry about that. Let's go have a beer. Let's just go out and have a beer, sit around, we'll just chat a little bit more. A handshake's good enough, And then they get back to the office and there's no contract and they didn't fill it out. And then, then when you get into the details, it turns out the person really did not want to buy. So you got to be careful. So that's your socializer. Let's see. We'll finish it all up and then see if there's time left. Okay, up here, top left is the relator. Like a socializer, very open people and relationship oriented, but totally different on the pacing scale. These, Lenny was very astute earlier in saying they hate conflict. If a relator is in a staff meeting or a group meeting and conflict starts to come up, they get up and they go, excuse me, I don't like all this fighting. I'm going to go hug somebody. I'll be right back. And they like to get a big hug. By the way, I forgot. Let me back up. I forgot the motto. They all have a motto. The director's motto is to get it done. Get it done. And when do they want it done? Now. All right. My way or the
safe or not.
Yeah. By the way, when I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. Okay? That was a joke, but obviously not a good one. Okay. The socializer's motto is to get appreciated. They want recognition, appreciation, the spotlight. Well, the relator, can't we just get along? Why do we have to fight? Relators know everybody in the company. They know the history of everybody. They know whose kids are going out with which kids and who's graduating, and they put together all the parties to, the graduation parties and all that. Relators, teachers, therapists, clergy, counselors, nurses, all of the helping professions. head of human resource, head of HR. Again, generally speaking, because they have that people orientation and that slower pace, they're much more patient. And they really want to find out about you, kind of like successful thinkers. This is where successful thinkers do. We want to get to know, like, and trust. So we're going to talk a little bit more. I'm going to get to know you. You know, I may ask you a couple questions and be a little direct, but I'm going to listen well. I'm going to paraphrase back. The best listeners are the relators. Who do you think the worst listeners are? The directors. People that are kitty corner from each other or up like this, they have the hardest time, and they have the hardest time getting along. Also, directors with other directors. It's like, you should see me and my daughter. Because at home, by the way, I am a director. I mean, it doesn't look like it here. See, if I was a director trying to do training, it would sound like this. Good afternoon. My name is Brad Warren with Warren & Associates. I'm here to teach you everything you need to know about communication skills. I don't have any time for your stupid questions, so don't ask any. I will tell you what to write down, when to write it down, how to write it down, where to write it down. Please open to page 1. Take out a pen. You don't have a pen? What's the matter with you? Not real good for building rapport. So my backup style is socializing, as you can sort of tell. So when I'm training, I kind of leave this guy, but do I know what time it is? I know exactly how much time is left. I know how many people are in the room. I'm pretty much, you know, it's my show. I've still got the control part from my director, but I'm much more into my socializer mode. These two styles, I don't have a whole heck of a lot of these two, as my wife will attest. Relater, no, you relate to a rock, you know, not to other people. All right, bottom left, we have the thinker. The cautious thinker, the analyzer. This person does it by the book. Very methodical, very meticulous. CPAs, accountants, data processors, scientists, engineers, all of those thinking professions where precision is needed and attention to detail. By the way, if you want something done right, you give it to a thinker. But if you want it done soon, think about that first, because it's going to take them a really long time. They're going to not just double check. Here's a thinker doing their taxes. They have the 1040. They have the instruction booklet for the 1040. They have the instruction booklet for the instruction booklet. They have a calculator with 3 spare batteries. By the way, thinkers hate interruptions. They don't want, it's like, we are going this way, get out of the way, I'm going to get there in 29 seconds, and if you get in my way, that's going to throw it up. So very methodical, I hate interruptions. They have the calculator, they disconnect the phone, and they tell the wife and the kids, here's $100, go out, eat food, go to a triple feature, I don't want to see you back here until midnight, because in the manual it says it's going to take 8 hours, it's going to take me 12. And it's 8 a.m. in the morning, it's going to take me at least till 8 p.m. tonight to do the taxes. Oh, do they round off? Thinkers? No! $29.52. They don't round off because of the exactness of it all. And what do you think their motto is? Get it what? Right. Get it right. Get it right. All right. Let me see what else I can do in 29 seconds. All right, so I can wrap up. Question? Lawyers? Again, you got to be careful because you can't just put a whole category, even though I did. They would tend to be more down here somewhere. Probably directors, but also thinkers because they go by the law. Very meticulous. How you interpret those words, past cases, precedent. So they have a lot of thinker in them, but they're also, you know, you don't mess with them. All right, so that was my 30 minutes. Let me just wrap up by telling you a little story so you'll be able to remember this. So a long time ago, there were 4 knights at the Round Table. You know, King Arthur's day. This was several centuries ago, I guess. And they were accused of committing a very serious crime. And so King Arthur sentenced them to death by guillotine. And he had a special guillotine built with 4 slots. 1 big long blade, 4 slots for each of the knights. And on the day of execution, they were led up by the executioner. He put each one of their heads into one of the slots. He takes his axe, goes over the big rope that's holding, and he whacks it on a signal from Arthur. He whacks the rope, and the blade comes out, shh, and it jams. jams. And Arthur takes this as a sign that they're innocent. So he pardons them. And they all jump up, and needless to say, 4 nights. Guess what? We got a director night, a socializer night, a thinker night, and a relator night. So who do you think the first one up is? The director. And he goes, see, I told you we were innocent. You should have listened to us in the first place. And Arthur, I'm suing. All right. Let's see. The next one, the relator. The relator gets up, walks over to the executioner, takes his hand. Listen, I know you were just doing your job. No hard feelings, I've let it go. Would you and your husband join us for dinner tonight? So that's the relator. Socializer gets up and it's got just 2 words. 1 word, actually. Party! The thinker is the last one to get up, and he looks up at the guillotine. He goes, hey, I think I see the problem.